Have you ever wondered why some people seem completely unbothered, no matter what life throws their way? The world can be falling apart, chaos everywhere, plans crashing, insults flying, one setback after another, but somehow they stay calm, steady, unshaken. It's almost like they're standing in the middle of a storm, but the storm can't touch them. So what do they know that most people don't? See, most people live their lives constantly reacting. Someone cuts them off in traffic, instant rage. A coworker throws a passive-aggressive comment, and the rest of their day is ruined. A stranger gives them a weird look, and suddenly, the self-doubt kicks in. Every little thing from the outside seems to control how they feel on the inside. But what if you could break out of that cycle? What if nothing, no person, no event, no situation, could ever disturb your inner peace again? Carl Jung, the famous psychologist, believed that most of us are prisoners of our own reactions. We think life is happening to us, but really, we're just reflecting what's going on inside of us, the stuff we haven't yet worked through. Here's the harsh truth. Nothing on the outside can affect you unless it finds something inside you to hook onto. Let's say someone calls you stupid. If you feel angry, it's because some part of you fears that it might be true. If someone ignores you and you feel hurt, it's because a part of you still craves external validation. This is why two people can go through the exact same situation and react in completely different ways. It's never about what happens, it's about what's already happening inside you. This inner work, some people call it shadow work. It's the process of bringing the unconscious into the conscious, noticing that every irritation, every frustration, every emotional trigger is really a message from within. But here's what most people do. They run from these triggers. They ignore them, blame the world, blame others for making them feel this way. But those who truly wake up realize something life-changing. The world outside is simply a reflection of the world inside. And the moment you fully understand this, you unlock something powerful. The ability to control your reality by mastering yourself. Here's the catch though. Most people don't want to hear that. It's easier to blame your boss, your ex, bad luck, or the universe itself. It's easier to believe that life is unfair than to admit that you might be the one giving all these things power over you. But for those brave enough to go deeper, to stop blaming and start observing, a whole new kind of freedom opens up. And the beauty of it? Once you stop reacting, you stop being controlled. You don't need to avoid negative people anymore. You don't have to control situations. You simply become immune. Not detached, not emotionless, just completely untouchable. The illusion of control and the freedom of letting go. Most people spend their entire lives trying to control what they were never meant to control. They want everyone to like them. They want life to be predictable. They want everything to go exactly according to plan. And when it doesn't, they suffer. They get angry when someone disrespects them. They feel betrayed when life doesn't follow their script. They take everything personally, as if the universe is specifically targeting them for some cruel test. But here's the reality. There's only one thing you truly have control over: your perception. Carl Jung understood something most people never grasp. The world outside of you, it's neutral. It's not good or bad, kind or cruel. It just is. The only thing that makes it seem positive or negative is the filter through which you see it. Two people can experience the exact same event: a breakup, a financial loss, a failure. One person spirals into self-destruction, convinced they've lost everything. The other sees it as a lesson, a chance to grow, a stepping stone to something greater. The difference? Perception. Jung famously said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." In other words, as long as you're unaware of the stories you're telling yourself, about others, about success, about your own worth, you'll keep reacting blindly. You'll keep thinking life is happening to you, when it's actually happening through you. And here's where it gets really interesting. The more you try to control the external world, the more power you give it over you. The moment you need someone to respect you, they have power over you. The moment you need a situation to go a certain way, it controls you. The moment you need life to be fair, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. But the second you let go of this illusion of control, everything shifts. Suddenly you're free. Free from needing approval. Free from the fear of failure. Free from the exhausting struggle to force the world to match your expectations. Think about it. The people who seem truly untouchable in life, they're not the ones controlling everything. They're the ones who've mastered themselves. They remain calm in the storm. They don't crumble when chaos hits. They're indifferent to insults. Fearless in the face of uncertainty. They understand something most people don't. Control is an illusion. And the moment you stop chasing it, that's when you become truly powerful. And here's the paradox. When you stop needing things to go your way, they often do. When you stop fearing what people think, you naturally become more confident. When you stop chasing success out of desperation, opportunities start showing up effortlessly. When you stop resisting life and start flowing with it, everything seems to fall into place. And this isn't just philosophy, it's backed by neuroscience. Studies in cognitive psychology have shown, the more we obsess over controlling something, whether it's people, outcomes, or even our own thoughts, the more resistance we create. That's why people desperate for love often repel it. Why those terrified of failure sabotage themselves. Why the ones clinging to control often feel the most powerless. So here's the question you've got to ask yourself. Are you living in reaction, or are you living in control of your perception? Because the moment you realize that nothing outside of you holds power, life starts to feel like an entirely different game. Let's paint a simple scenario. You're walking down the street, minding your business. Suddenly, someone yells at you from across the road. You're useless. You'll never amount to anything. Now pause for a moment. What's happening inside you right now? Most people, without even thinking, would either get defensive or feel hurt. The emotions surge. The heart starts pounding. Anger kicks in. Or maybe the words play on a loop inside your head, feeding your frustration long after the insult was thrown. But now imagine a completely different response. Nothing. No emotional spike. No reaction. Just calm awareness. That has nothing to do with me. That's what true mastery looks like. That's what the Stoics, Zen masters, and Carl Jung deeply understood. Nothing outside of you can disturb your peace unless you grant it permission. But let's go even deeper. Why do most people get triggered so easily? It's because their sense of self is fragile, built on layers of opinions, validation, and attachments. Their entire identity is tied up in what others think, how others behave, and outcomes they can't fully control. That's why an insult doesn't just sting, it threatens their entire identity. Carl Jung talked about this at length when he introduced the concept of the shadow self, the hidden part of our psyche that holds all our fears, insecurities, and unhealed wounds. These are the parts of ourselves we try to hide, even from our own awareness. And when someone triggers an emotional response, they're not creating pain. They're exposing pain that was already there. Think about it like this. If you were fully at peace with yourself, if there was no unresolved fear inside you, then someone's insult would feel like shouting at a mountain. The words would echo back with no effect. The mountain doesn't care. The mountain remains unmoved. So when you feel triggered, the real question isn't, why did they say that? It's, why did that affect me? If someone calls you a failure, does it sting because deep down you fear it might be true? If someone disrespects you, do you get enraged because you crave recognition? If things don't go your way, do you spiral because you're attached to a specific outcome? The problem isn't out there. The problem is in how you perceive yourself. The real power isn't in silencing the world, avoiding criticism, or eliminating problems. The real power is in developing an unshakable mind, a mind that doesn't crave external validation, a mind that stays solid when faced with challenges, a mind that understands all control begins and ends with perception. And here's the important part. This isn't just some abstract philosophy, this is science. Research in psychology shows that emotional reactivity is actually a habit. Your brain builds neural pathways that reinforce your reactions. The more you allow external events to dictate your emotions, the stronger that habit becomes. In short, the more you react, the easier it becomes to keep reacting. But the good news? you can rewire those pathways. Neuroscientists have found that through mindfulness, cognitive reframing, and exposure to discomfort, you can literally train your brain to be less reactive. Insults stop triggering you. Failures don't define you. Uncertainty no longer scares you. You become untouchable, not because the world has changed, but because you have. The truth about human nature. Here's something strange about how we humans operate. We think we're reacting to the world, but we're actually reacting to ourselves. Take this example. Someone insults you. The words are like daggers. But pause. Where is the pain really coming from? Not from the words themselves. They're just sound waves. The pain comes from the meaning you've attached to them, from the wounds they've touched inside you, from the stories your subconscious has been holding on to. Carl Jung said it perfectly. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. That's the brutal truth most people don't want to face. Nothing outside of you has power over you, unless you give it power. Think of it like looking into a mirror. If your reflection suddenly frowns, you wouldn't yell at the mirror. You'd realize it's simply reflecting what you are doing. And yet, when life reflects our inner world back to us, we blame the mirror. We point fingers. We demand others change. We look outward instead of inward. And why do we do that? Simple: attachment. When your identity is built on external things, people's opinions, validation, outcomes, you're always at the mercy of things you can't control. But what if you simply stopped playing that game? What if instead of reacting, you became the observer? Detachment isn't about becoming numb or cold. It's about becoming untouchable. It's realizing that you are not your emotions. You are the awareness behind them. Picture a storm raging in the sky. Thunder cracks, lightning flashes, winds howl. But above all of that is clear blue sky. The sky isn't affected by the storm. You are the sky. The storm is just passing weather. This is why the real power isn't in controlling the world. It's in controlling how you see the world. And here's the wild part. When you stop reacting to everything, you actually start influencing reality itself. People feel your energy shift. They can't shake you. They can't manipulate you. They can't disrupt your peace. Because now, you own your energy. So how do you step into this untouchable presence? It all begins with one thing: awareness. Mastering real-time self-awareness. Here's the truth. You've never actually been reacting to the world itself, only to your mind's interpretation of it. Two people can experience the exact same situation and have completely different emotional responses. For example, someone bumps into you on the street. One person shrugs it off. The other person stews in anger for hours. The situation was identical. The emotions? Completely different. Why? Because their reactions were never about the event. They were about their perception. Again, Jung brings us back to the shadow self. The wounds we hide. The emotions we suppress. The fears we refuse to confront. These are the things that control us until we face them. If someone can easily manipulate your emotions, it's because they're holding on to a part of you that you haven't fully owned yet. The key isn't to suppress your emotions, it's to study them. Instead of blaming others for triggering you, ask yourself, what part of me is being exposed right now? Imagine life like a chessboard. Most people go through life playing as one of the pieces, always reacting to every move. But true mastery? It's becoming the player, the one who sees the entire board. Or better yet, becoming the observer who watches the entire game from above, seeing all the moves before they happen. That's what emotional detachment really is. Not numbness, but mastery. You're not ignoring emotions. You're understanding them so deeply that they no longer control you. You become the observer, not the prisoner of your reactions. And here's where things start to shift. When you stop reacting, the world starts responding to you. People feel your calm confidence. You stop chasing validation, and others start seeking yours. You stop reacting to negativity, and negativity loses its grip on you. You stop being a puppet of the world, and instead, you become the one pulling the strings. At the core of all of this is one simple skill: real-time self-awareness. In every moment, you're presented with two choices. You can react, mindlessly, automatically, impulsively, or you can observe, consciously, calmly, with full awareness. The next time someone tries to provoke you, just pause. Catch yourself in that split second before your emotions take over. Feel the trigger rising inside you, that heat, that tightness, that urge to lash out. But instead of acting on it, simply watch it, like a scientist studying an experiment. Detached, curious, that's your moment of power. That tiny gap between stimulus and response, that's where freedom lives. The more you practice catching yourself in that moment, the more you reclaim control over your own mind. Now you might be wondering, okay, but how do I actually build this skill until it becomes second nature? Let's break it down. 1. Practice mindfulness daily. Mindfulness isn't about sitting cross-legged for hours or chanting mantras. It's about training your brain to notice what's happening inside you in real time. Throughout your day, check in with yourself. What am I feeling right now? Why am I feeling this way? Is this reaction coming from truth or from fear? The more often you ask, the sharper your self-awareness becomes. Eventually, you'll start recognizing emotional triggers as they arise, not after the fact, but while they're happening. 2. Study your triggers. Your triggers are your teachers. Every time you feel irritated, angry, hurt, or anxious, instead of blaming the world, turn inward. What belief is being challenged? What fear is being exposed? What part of your identity feels threatened? The more you study your triggers, the more you dissolve their power. You'll start realizing that most of what upsets you isn't even real. It's just old programming, stories you've been carrying for years. 3. Lean into discomfort. Growth lives on the edge of your comfort zone. The more you expose yourself to uncomfortable situations without reacting, the more resilient your nervous system becomes. Think of it like building muscle. Each moment of discomfort is a rep. The more reps you do, the stronger your emotional stability gets. Over time, what used to trigger you will barely register. 4. Reframe your perspective. Whenever life doesn't go your way, pause and ask, what is life trying to teach me right now? How is this happening for me, not to me? By reframing your challenges, you strip them of their power to control you. Every obstacle becomes an opportunity for growth. 5. Visualize your untouchable self. Spend a few minutes each day visualizing yourself as completely unshakable. See yourself staying calm in the face of insults, setbacks, or chaos. Feel what it's like to be completely centered, no matter what's happening around you. The more vividly you rehearse this mental image, the more your brain starts wiring it as your default response. Why all this matters? The moment you stop letting the world pull your emotional strings, you take back control. You're no longer a puppet being jerked around by every comment, every setback, every mood swing. You master your reactions, and in doing so, you master your reality. Because here's the ultimate truth. You can't control what people say. You can't control how life unfolds. You can't control every outcome, but you can always control your response. And that's where true power lives. The energy shift. The beautiful thing is, when you reach this untouchable state, something interesting happens. People feel it. They sense your stability. They sense that you can't be easily provoked, manipulated, or rattled. And suddenly, they start responding to you differently. You stop chasing validation, and people start respecting you more. You stop fearing rejection, and you naturally attract more connection. You stop being desperate for control, and situations begin flowing your way more effortlessly. Life starts responding to your energy because you're no longer reacting to every external fluctuation. You become the sky, not the storm. Remember the storm metaphor. You are not the wind, the rain, or the lightning. You are the sky, still, vast, untouched, while the storm passes through. Detachment doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you're no longer ruled by what you feel. You observe emotions without becoming enslaved by them. The final shift. Most people live life on emotional autopilot, prisoners of their own unchecked reactions. They hand over their peace to strangers, their confidence to critics, their happiness to outcomes they can't control. But you're not here to be controlled by external noise. You're here to master your own inner world. Because once you control your perception, once you stop fighting the world and start observing it, once you stop resisting and start flowing, you become untouchable. You become calm in the storm, steady under pressure, centered in chaos, and completely free from the grip of the external world. If this message resonated with you, if you're ready to keep rewiring your mind for mastery, drop a comment below. Let me know your biggest takeaway from today's video. And if you want to keep expanding your mindset and building your untouchable mind, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because what's coming next will take this journey even deeper. I'll see you in the next one.